Okay, today we're going to talk about Google Forms. So just like we have with other Google documents, to create a new document, we're going to click on our red button that says Create, and it brings down a menu, and we're going to choose Form from the menu. Now when we start a brand new form, it actually takes us to the actual form itself where we can edit our questions. Now you can always get back to this form to add more questions, but it always starts off this way. Now, when it comes to a form is a document where you can create, say you wanted to use it as a survey, so people could actually fill out the form, and then what happens is when you make the form live and they fill it out and submit their answers, then the answers go to the back side of the form, and the back side of a form is a spreadsheet. So then you can see all the answers. Now, as we put in these questions, we can put them in however we want, in whatever order, and then when we save the form, that's how they'll show up on the spreadsheet. If we come back and edit later, add more questions, even if we change them into a different position, they won't show up in that exact place on the back side. So be aware of that. Alright, let's start off with talking about the form. Here we want to, it says untitled form, so kind of just like the other Google documents, we want to give it a name. So I'm just going to name it F Practice. Okay. So say that you were creating a survey or even a test for students. You would name it whatever you want to, and then in this next box right below it, we have a text paragraph text box where you can include directions or instructions or additional information, maybe explain what the survey's purpose is, any of that stuff. So you can type that in here. Now, when you start off with the form, it gives you two questions. So the first question is highlighted. This is sample question 1. And you can see over here, we are in edit mode right now, but if we were not, so if I highlight sample question 2 down here, you can see that a pencil pops up, and that means that I could edit sample question 2. Let's stay with sample question 1 first, and let's talk about the different parts of it. First of all, you want to, where it says question title, that's actually the question that you're asking. So if it's a survey or a test question, then you're actually going to put the question or the statement or the directions, whatever you want for that question, in this box called question title. Then if there's additional help information you want to give, you would put that in the next box down, which says help text. If we continue down our box, now we move on to the different question types. And you can see we have a text question type, we have a paragraph text, multiple choice, check boxes, choose from a list, scale, and grid. We're going to go through each of these types of questions. We're going to start off with text first, though. Text questions are questions that maybe if it was for a quiz, it's going to be your short answer questions. Maybe, you know, a word or a phrase. You can type a couple sentences in it, but if you want people to give you detailed answers, then you would want to use the paragraph text box, not the text one. So this type of a question would be more for your short answer, you know, single answers, or you know, maybe small phrases, or maybe a sentence. So you would type in your question, any help things, we choose the type of question we want, and then so when it shows up for them as a question, this box would just be blank, and that's where they would type their answer. So your question shows up, and then they type in the box. Now, if you want to make it a required question, you could check this box, and then that question is a required one. So let's say for our text type of question, let's make the question be, what is the capital of Montana? Okay. Like I said, if you wanted to add a help text, you could, and then it'll just be a box that they would put their answer in. And again, if you wanted to make it required, just check the box. So click Done. So there's our question. That's how it would kind of show up on the form, that question, and then they would just answer, put their answer within the box. So then we would go to question number 2. So if we hover over question 2, you can see our options show up here on the right side. We're going to click on the pencil to edit, and here we have question number 2. The next type of question that we're going to take a look at is the paragraph text. Okay, now again, a paragraph text type of question is like a text question, except that it gives the users or whoever's doing the form, filling out the form, they can actually give a longer answer. So if you wanted them to type some paragraphs, or if it was a much longer essay question that you expected them to write a paragraph or two, then you would use this type of question. Let's say name what happens in key battles in World War II. Okay, so then they could write a bigger answer that way. So that type of a question is a paragraph text. If, say, we didn't like a question, we wanted to get rid of it, the garbage can deletes it, and say you wanted to just duplicate the question, then this, where it shows the 2 different squares, it would copy that exact same question over. And so then we're going to say that we're done. Well, now we've used those 2 questions. Well, now what do? We need to add more questions. So to do that, you would come up here to the top left where it says add item. And you can choose what type of question right away that you want to do. The next type of question that we're going to check out is the multiple choice, so we'll go ahead and select that. Okay. Couple other things real quick. You can change what the theme looks like for when people actually fill out this form. I have a lot of difficulty when I'm first editing a form I'm in Google Chrome. I have a lot of problems changing the theme right away. Usually I have to save it and get out of the form and then go back to this part to edit this form and then change the theme then. So a lot of times I get an error message. So you may want to just wait to do that. Create your form, save it, X out of it, and then open it back up again to edit it and see what happens. A couple other things here is that you can insert a section header. So say that you were going to do all multiple choice questions. You could say, put in a section header that says these are all multiple choice questions and give directions that way. If you wanted to have a page break so that you go to a next page, so maybe, because sometimes your forms get really long and you just keep scrolling down, you could insert a page break that takes you to the next page. Other things here is you can email this form. Maybe if you wanted to send it to a certain group of people, you could see the responses. More actions, I could embed this. Here I could switch to the spreadsheet. I could see a summary of the answers. So those are some other options. Now we've added a third question here and we made it a multiple choice. And we'll just type in a question. What is the best NBA team? Of course it's the Bulls. So then you would just type in however many options you want. You could say the Bulls, hit enter, the Lakers, the Mavericks, the Celtics. Okay, so then the people, when they see that question, they would see the question and then they would have a choice. And in the multiple choice questions, they can only choose one answer. Okay, and if you wanted to add an other option, you can just click on this active link and it would put that automatically in there for you. And when you're finished, click done. The next type of question we're going to talk about, here we're going to go up here to our plus and we're going to add an item, is we're going to do the check boxes. Now, a checkboxes question is similar to multiple choice, but with the checkboxes, someone can choose more than one answer. So we could type, what types of junk food do you like. Okay, and again we're choosing the checkboxes question type, so we can add ice cream, candy, popcorn, pie, cake, donuts. Okay, and again you can add other as an option. But in this type of question, again, someone can choose more than one answer to the question. And you have the option to make it required, and when you're finished editing the question, just click done. Okay, the next type of question we're going to talk about, let's go up to add item. The next one is choose from a list. So choose from a list is similar to like multiple choice, where they can only choose one option. So let's see, if we do choose from a list, let's go back to the most winningest Major League Baseball team. And I really have no idea what the answer is, but so here we're going to add, you see our question type says choose from a list, so the first one we're going to add, we'll add the Red Sox, maybe we should, Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees, let's see who else, Seattle Mariners, Chicago Cubs. Alright, and then when we're done with that question again, just click on done. And you can see the most winningest MLB team, and the first shows Boston Red Sox, but if you click on the down arrow, it shows all the different lists so they can choose which one that they would like. Okay. Next type of question we're going to talk about is a scale question. Now, a scale question is really applicable to maybe like a type of survey question, or maybe if you're surveying maybe your students, if you want to try to gauge how well you did on a lesson or how they liked a particular unit. So we could just say rate this science unit. And so down here you can have it, we could do scale from 1 to 5, and 1 being not at all, and 5 being very much so. Okay, and when you have your options, what 1 would stand for and what 5 would stand for, again you can choose, look, you can go up to 10 for your options, and 0 or 1 is how you can start your scale. So when we're done, we click done, and then you can see here it says rate this science unit, and then the user would just choose a bubble. Alright, the last type of question that we're going to do is what we call the grid question. So we're going to go up here to where we add our item, and we're going to choose grid. And this type of question, the grid question, allows you, you could do a scale similar to the scale question, but you could do multiple scales within one thing. We're actually going to use it as a true and false question. So for my actual question title, I'm going to say answer each statement as true or false. Now, your column rows are actually where you would put, if you wanted to be a scale, or you're rating stuff, or since we're just doing true or false, then we only want 2 columns. So here where it says columns, we're going to change that to 2. And for column 1, I'm going to put true, and for column 2, I'm going to put false. Then the rows are actually where we're going to put our questions, and we can put something like Butte is the capital of Montana. We can go to another question, the capital of Idaho is Bonners Ferry, the nation's capital is Washington, D.C. Okay, and once you have your stuff put in there, then you click done, and you can see that you can have multiple questions going at one time under just one question. So here's where our directions were: answer each statement as true or false, and then here are the questions, and then the user would just write mark a bubble for the answers. So now that we've gone through each different type of question, I just want to show if you decide that you want to change the orders of your question, if you just left click on a question, you can actually move it up or down and change the order of the questions. So that comes in handy if you choose to save this and then have to come back in and edit and add more stuff. Then you can still move your questions around. Again, the order in which you add the questions is where they'll show up on the back side of the form. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at the back side of the form. We're done with all this, so we're going to go ahead and click Save. And we're going to exit out of our form. Actually, we'll just go to More Actions, See Responses, and go to Spreadsheet. So this is the actual back side of the form. And you can see we have all our different questions here, and as people answer questions, then those will show up within the spreadsheet. In the back side of the spreadsheet, here is where the form is, and we actually want to click on Form. If there were responses, the number would change next to the form. If we click on Form, we can go back and edit the form. We can go to the live form, and right now it says that we are accepting responses. So if we gave the link to the actual live form to someone, they would be able to take our survey or answer our questions. So we're going to actually just uncheck that. We want to go back to edit our form because I want to show you how to change the theme. So right here where it says theme plane, we're going to click on that. And hopefully it won't give us, oh, here's the error. So again, you're just going to have to keep coming back to it and try to change the theme as we go. Let's X out of that. And so if we go to the live form, I want to show you how that would show up. Oh, can't go to the live form because we're not accepting responses. So we have to accept responses, and then we can go to the live form. And this is what it would look like. So if you change the theme, what happens is it just changes the side background of what the form will be laid upon. And so there's the live form, so someone would fill that out and click Submit.